This is Reshif. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. I just came out of a 7 hour retail shift. So I think now is the perfect time to carefully critique a map. Before I do, though, there's something I do want to mention. In the this thread mattato made, he threw some shade at the current CTF maps and how like the maps were edited without his map Impact 1 was edited without his discretion. I do want to like recognize this. CTF tournament maps were kind of a mess. Nobody really talked to each other while we were making them. We weren't really informed on the tournament schedule. We had 3 days to play test. It wasn't organized very well, and as a result, the CTF maps weren't actually that great. They're not all entirely garbage though, and his explanation here that they're all just respawning and pain looping, even in the finals, is kind of an oversimplification of what the problem actually was. The problem was the CTF maps, besides I think Canyon Chaos was the one that was like actually bad, is that most of the maps actually ended up playing very similarly and were overly simplistic because it was basically just me and some help from other. Well, I say it was just me, but I wasn't the only one making edits. That would be really conceited. It felt like it was only me because the other people who were making edits weren't actually talking to me or each other. But for whatever reason, there was a limited pool of ideas going into the pool. And what ended up happening is that the maps ended up playing a lot like a control style map where you have a bunch of team fights around the center area, and then when you convert wins in those team fights or advantages and how many players are alive into the objective, which in this case is a flag, but on something like Limbo 2 would just be points on the hill. And that kind of style works really well in like 5 CP and King of the Hill, Limbo 2, like I just mentioned. But when it comes to CTF, it gets really boring really fast because the flag's always in the same spot. There's not many rotations when it's one flag per team because, again, Limbo 2, there's 3 places to rotate from and player spreads are really important, whereas on CTF there's just one thing to go for and you fight for that and then you get that thing. So while there is a lot of strategy and skill involved in having those team fights and them going well, which is why I sort of disagree with his statement that it was just pain looping and meleeing each other. The problem was that it was the same fight happening in a similar area, even across different maps. And like Half Creeper said down here, there's a very high chance we're going to go back and look through the maps. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's no way we won't. I wouldn't jump the gun and say that we're planning to throw out all of them. By the way, I'm like 2/3 of the way through a burrito. Sorry about that. I wouldn't say we're 100% going to throw all of them in the garbage. But some serious changes need to happen before the next CTF event, which is going to be $1,000 prize pool this summer. Is there something else I want to say about the thread? No. So I guess I should get into the map itself. I guess I should point out these are like these weird arbitrary pillars and cover things on the sides of these lanes. They aren't actually in the map download, which I got. Like they're just not here. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. But anyways, the map itself seems like all the problems that existed on the first version of Impact 1, which I saw and edited and messed with and nobody else really saw. All of those problems just kind of made way worse with none of the upsides that Impact 1 had. This sort of mosh pit problem in the middle where teams are just kind of funneled into mid and then just fight each other, and occasionally someone gets to escape and explore the rest of the map. That was going to be a problem. I'll go ahead and show you guys what Impact 1 originally looked like. So Impact here. This is what it looked like at first. Important thing to note, this is the spawn and this is the flag, which is not how it ended up. It ended up that this was the spawn and that was the flag, and that was a very intentional choice to swap those around, because having the spawn here is a pretty bad idea, because people are just going to come out and fight in mid, and occasionally someone's going to break free. This map, unlike the new one, which suffers from players being forced to have the mid mosh pit, does have these back exits, which are really inconvenient to use unless you know someone is going to be coming up that lane, which I guess is nice. But anyways, this was obviously salvageable, because we ended up using an edited version of it after having swapped around the spawn and the flag, messed with this area. We extended, or I guess I extended the middle portion of it. Let me... Okay, let me try and find the world name for this, because I remember... I gotta... No, wait, he messaged it to me, didn't he? I'm sorry about this. I'm looking for something. I'm trying to... Doesn't have the CTF prefix, my bad. Okay, so... this is the version of Impact that ended up being played in the tournament. Notice the spawn is back here and the flag is right here. Mid was extended a bit. The middle mosh pit was made to be diversified a little bit so that you can more easily rotate to these little side lanes. And nobody really wants to be in mid. You're supposed to kind of make a player spread between these two options. And I guess if you're desperate, push down the middle. Going up top was actually like a decent option because it gives you a route over a very contestable area where a line of scrimmage can actually be established and there can be a bow fight, whereas on the original version you just got into mid and fought each other in an ever-ending team fight because the spawn was right next to it. And making this weird roundabout thing with the flag area was actually a pretty late addition, just because I wanted it to take a little bit longer to get back through mid, to incentivize teams to go back in one of the side lanes. But yeah, if we go back to this Impact 2 now, you can see that the problems that need to be fixed in Impact 1, like turning mid into something other than a mosh pit, and I was going to talk about this weird... So forcing rotations with these two lanes being so far apart actually gives a huge advantage to the defending team, or like the team that has people further back on their side. Because if someone, as soon as you know someone in the other lane is crossing and is playing offensively, if you are then on this side of the midline, you will get to your own flag first. If you're on the other side and you need to rotate, you won't. So there is an incentive to be positioned around right here and then have your team call out that a person is playing aggressively on that side, so you can run up to here and get to the flag right as they're rounding that corner. And that's definitely not encouraging aggressive play through the use of these lanes. Also, another thing I don't really want to have to mention is that in the thread he was talking about the asymmetrical lanes and the steep lane and the shallow lane or whatever, and how like this one's supposed to be easier, or this part's supposed to be easier than this. You can just sprint jump up this like weird soul sand thing. Like it doesn't actually slow you down at all. If anything, it gives you low ground advantage. Like, I don't get this. I guess in the cover's a bit different in the version that has cover, though honestly the cover in the shallow area is just along the walls, which isn't useful for someone who's running down, which would make it harder to push. Whereas the cover for this area is a bunch of pillars, which you can weave back and forth through when you're playing aggressively, which would make it easier to push. And he says that the steeper one's supposed to be harder to push. I assume. I might be getting shallow and steep mixed up. But another thing is that, like, yeah, rotations just are going to be not really that interesting. And there's no... It's just... There are other minor problems to talk about, like how I would mess with the dimensions, but the biggest problem is that this mosh pit is just a terrible idea that Mattato seems intent on making this happen. I'm not sure why. I guess one last thing is this part back here. Let me pull up what... This actually makes me irrationally upset, this little back bit. Where is it? Here it is. The sneaky side lane allows for players to move around the shallow lane. So this is the shallow lane, yeah. Shallow lane hidden. Who in their right mind would ever use this? Who would ever think this is a good idea to go down this path? There is no scenario in which someone who's playing offensively is going to say, I'm not going to go this way, I'm going to go this way instead. And I'll go through the scenarios where they wouldn't choose to do that. First, there's nobody there, which is probably the case because nobody's going to be able to leave mid except for one person occasionally, and they're just going to run in a straight line. Two, they're having a 1v1. Why would they have a 1v1 over here where it's 3 wide? That would be a dumb idea. Another scenario, there's like the entire 5v5 is right here. They still wouldn't use it because you go, like, sure, you're hidden. Sure, you're like separated between them from a wall, but you get over here and like, yeah, you're hidden, you're not being shot at, but then you just let yourself be one shot because you just get knocked off instantly into the void. Why would anyone ever use this? I do not understand. I don't get it. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I have been wrong about a lot of things before. I thought Wits End 2 was a good map, and it wasn't. Maybe someone's gonna come in and explain to me why this is actually like a good idea to do this mosh pit thing, because I mean I've never really tried it. Like it's never really been done in CTF. I'd say that's for a good reason, but I mean that's just a theory. I don't know. That's all I have to say on this. I might have forgotten something, but I'm too tired to remember.